ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Brought to you by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Local then, local now. Member FDIC.
Our phone lines this hour brought to you by White Claw at 877-420-TALK. That's 877-420-8255. White Claw Hard Seltzer, it is made pure. The text line as well, 304-523-2275. Welcome into The Drive for this Friday, February 25th. Paul Swann, your host. Yesterday, we didn't have a good day. Marshall lost in basketball to Middle Tennessee. The men fell 74-65. Not a good outing for the Thundering Herd in some regards. There are some other things we could take away that was a lot better. One thing we can say for certain, Middle Tennessee got to the free throw line a lot, killed the Herd there. 32-35 is what they shot from the free throw line. Marshall, 11-12. So Marshall was really good from the free throw line. Middle Tennessee was really good from the free throw line, and Middle Tennessee was there a lot more. So Marshall's got to bounce back, get set for Western Kentucky, the final two games of the regular season before the Conference USA tournament. Same thing for the women yesterday. Better performance than the last time these two teams met, but still just wasn't enough. Marshall fell to Middle Tennessee 65-57. Savannah Wheeler had 22 points in that contest. So not a good night for Marshall basketball, men or women. But today, a much better day, a much brighter day. Even though the weather outside is kind of gloomy right now, it was a very enlifting, engaging, energizing speech today. It was uplifting today. That's fair to say. As we were introduced officially to Athletic Director Christian Spears. So he took the stage, and before he was introduced, and we're going to have that for you here in a moment. You're going to get a chance to hear all of that. And then we'll have his question and answer session and some breakout questions a little bit later. But a few things that President Smith said when he was trying to hire an athletic director. And he said, dreams big, but doesn't miss the small things. So that's something he liked about him. Has a system. Can't wait to see what that system looks like. And he's going to be implementing that, I'm sure, once he hits the ground running. We're going to see what that system starts to look like. Also, brings empowerment and accountability. What does that mean? Well, I think he's trying to, as we listen to some of the things he talked about, I think he's trying to make sure that he puts the people in the right position, gives them a voice as well. He talked about that. He likes to hear different thoughts, different opinions. He wants to know what's going on. He wants to be transparent with his schedule, what he's doing, his plan, his vision. He wants to know what's going on as well with his department. So he's going to be very active and involved, it sounds like. Also, very committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And in today's day and age, if you're not doing these things, you're falling behind. Different world. It's not what it once was. Yeah, you cannot just sit in the comfort zone of where you're at. Doesn't matter if it's the workplace or academia. You're going to have to eventually realize there's a broader world out there. And so he's committed to that, including diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think the one thing that was very prominent was everyone was very gracious to Jeff O'Malley. I mean, here's a guy who took the job, appointed the interim athletic director, and was a finalist for the position. And by all reports and by all markers, did a fantastic job. But he doesn't get the job. But he's still a vital part of the athletic department. And that was made known that, hey, he didn't get the job, but he's instrumental on so many issues, where this university's at now during that stretch. And he's going to continue to be a valued part of what's happening in this process. So that is something I thought was really important as well. And of course, you got to have some slogans and some catchphrases. And he did emphasize the we part of We Are Marshall, not me are Marshall, we are Marshall. So you're going to hear that a couple of times. So we're going to hear some of his responses later on to some questions. I asked him about the baseball park. A few people asked him about transitioning from this situation into the Sun Belt. We're going to hear all of that later on. And then we had some opportunity to catch up with him just, after he left the podium. So all that's coming up. But if you didn't hear it earlier today, here is the press conference with the president, Brad D. Smith, introducing Christian Spears as the new athletic director of Marshall University.
All right, good morning, and thank you for joining us on this milestone moment in Marshall Athletics as we warmly welcome our 22nd Athletic Director, Christian Spears. And his amazing wife, Julia Spears. Before I invite Christian up to the podium to share his reflections and take any questions you may have, I thought I'd take a moment just to set the stage on some of the perspectives around the search, what we were looking for in our next athletic director, and why Christian Spears is the right person with the right skills and experience at the right time for Marshall University. So as you may recall, we started a national search on December 9th in partnership with Carr Sports Consulting. We formed a 9-person selection committee that included both current and former coaches and student athletes, faculty and staff, and big green donors. And the response we got to the posting of the position was incredible. That reinforces the power of our international brand and the allure of the opportunity to come in and run and lead this storied franchise called Marshall University Athletics. Now, I'll tell you what we were looking for. We were very clear from day one. This is a powerhouse, and we wanted someone who's a transformational change agent, who not only respects our past, but realizes our potential. And the thing in particular we wanted is someone who showed scrappy innovation, both internally with operations and externally with building relations and generating revenue. The second thing we were looking for was someone who was well networked and deeply immersed in NCAA athletics. We all know the collegiate athletic system is changing. There's a new constitution. You have the transfer portal, you have name, image, and likeness. We have our own conference realignment and the transition we're working through, and we need someone who can help navigate those waters. And then last but not least, we wanted someone who was a winner. Someone who wins in academics, in athletics, and in the administration of a powerhouse athletic program. Now, we went through this process, and the committee worked hard. We had an onslaught of demand. They narrowed down to 4 powerhouse finalists. I will tell you, all 4 of those finalists came to campus. They were interviewed by our coaches, by our student athletes, by our faculty, by our staff, by donors. And at the end of the day, all 4 of them distinguished themselves and could have taken our program to the next level. But Christian was a perfect match. If you read his resume, you would see the extensive success he had at University of Pittsburgh, at Eastern Michigan University, Northern Illinois, Southern Illinois, Harvard, Ohio State, and Long Beach State University. In every instance, he changed the trajectory of those programs in the area that he was responsible for. But there were 4 things that distinguished Christian from the candidates that we had the chance to sit with. The first was he has a big vision with a keen attention to detail. He not only dreams big, but he doesn't miss the nuts and bolts that surround us every single day. The second thing is he's a systems thinker. To quote Coach Bill Walsh, the legendary coach from the 49ers, he said, "Good coaches have quotes, great coaches have examples, but championship coaches have systems." Christian has a system. You're going to hear some of that when he comes up and speaks in a minute. The third is he brings empowerment and accountability. I wish you could have seen the reaction of the campus when he talked about how he wants to both make sure that they've been set up to win, and then he has an expectation that in return, we will win. And last but not least is he is committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. He lives it, he's experienced it, and he's shown through all of his actions that he is committed to doing it each and every day. I am super excited. All of Herd Nation is excited for Christian Spears to step in as our next athletic director. And I will tell you, he is standing on the shoulders of giants. Those who've preceded him and those that are in the program now have built an incredibly strong foundation. And no giant stands taller than Jeff O'Malley. Jeff O'Malley has done an amazing job for 2 decades in our program. And as our interim athletic director, he distinguished himself in ways that we could never repay. He has helped navigate through the pandemic, through a leadership transition at the university, helping us with conference realignment, make the move towards the Sun Belt Conference, and the list goes on and on and on. I will tell you, Jeff, from the bottom of my heart, we are deeply grateful for who you are and how you've led. I know Jeff would say to you that that is the foundation upon which we now need to look to the future. And that is why we are here today, to look to the future and to introduce to you the 22nd athletic director who will lead us to that future. But it is not official until he has the right Kelly green jacket. So could I please ask for the jacket? Ladies and gentlemen, our next athletic director, Mr. Christian Spears.
How funny is that? That we were talking about it. We've got it.
I'm going to put this right here for now. Thank you, Brad.
You're welcome.
You know, Brad and I were just sitting there, and I said, hey, you look really good in that green jacket. I might have to get me one of those, right? And here we are, right? You do work fast, Brad. Unbelievable. Hey, thank you all for being here, right? Let me just start with just how grateful I am that you're all here today, right? Look at this room, right? So many people care about this unbelievable institution, and I've seen it, I feel it, it's palatable, it's real, it's genuine. I just can't thank you enough for being all here today. I do want to start with Brad, right? Just an unbelievable visionary leader, right? When I walked into that interview room at 7 a.m., when I joined the tour and the process, you know, I was a little bit in awe for a minute, right? Because he's just so genuine, just so inspiring. And I left that room ready to attack the rest of the day, right? The rest of the day was so engaging because Brad put me in this position and this mindset where I could accomplish anything. And I'm just so pleased to be a part of your team, and I just can't wait to get started with you. The process was unbelievably well done. Ginny should be commended. The screening committee that was involved, they were engaged into it, hanging on every word, listening intently, asking and probing questions, and did their due diligence to try to find the best possible fit. And you should be commended for the group you set up, Ginny for the search that she ran. Just an unbelievable experience for me as a person, and thrilled to be here at Marshall with you all at the end of that process. I do also want to thank Jeff, right? Jeff did an unbelievable job as our interim. We've seen some of the things that have happened in the time frame that he's been our athletic director. The move to a conference is very difficult, and Jeff has managed that at an extremely high level. Just so appreciate his leadership, and I so look forward to working with him. Jeff, I know you're back there somewhere. Thank you, Jeff, for all you've done, and I can't wait to work with you, brother. We're going to get after it together. I do also want to say a special thanks to Car Sports. So we, in this business, you hire people that help you, executive search firms. You know, Mike Thomas and Jeff Hathaway, they're both former athletic directors. And when they called me to recruit me for this opportunity, they said the greatest things about President Smith, about this university, about the people they've met here, and encouraged me holistically to get involved. And that's exactly what I did. And I'm so thankful for them for reaching out to me, and I wish them the best in their process. You know, so many people in college athletics are 1 degree separated, right? We all talk about these 6 degrees of separation that we all have, but it's more like 1 degree when you're in college athletics. I must have received 1,000 texts, phone calls, emails, LinkedIn messages over the last few days. And it's all people that have been connected in some way, shape, or form by this enterprise that we call college athletics, this thing that we get to do. And what we're really doing is helping young people reach their full potential. And there's something about that connection that never goes away. So I just want to thank the colleagues, coaches, administrators that I've worked with over the last 25 years. You've made me a better person, a better administrator, and kept me focused on what really matters. And that's the experience our students have at the institutions we serve. And I'll never forget it. So thank you all for the goodwill. And I'm so excited to be a part of Marshall. And I appreciate the help you gave me along the way. I want to thank the athletic directors that I've worked for, right? I've been very fortunate to be mentored by each and every person that I've had the opportunity to serve with. It started at Long Beach State with Bill Schumard, who gave me my first opportunity. Bill is now the executive director of the Special Olympics, so in Southern California, so you can imagine what kind of person he is, and the mentorship I got so early. I went on to Ohio State, where I met the person that I'm leaving at Pitt, Heather Like, and I want to save her for the last, but she offered me an opportunity when I was in law school to be her graduate assistant 21 years ago, and we have stayed connected ever since. I went to Harvard and worked for Bob Scalise, an amazing visionary leader in the Ivy League. Went to Southern Illinois and had the opportunity to work with Paul Kowalczyk and Mario Mocha, two of the best athletic directors you could wish for, and who really moved Southern Illinois. Went to Northern Illinois and worked for Jeff Comfer and Sean Frazier. Unbelievable people that took that program to new heights. An Orange Bowl, the first team in the Mid-American Conference to go to a BCS bowl game. An unbelievable experience while there. And then Heather brought me to Eastern Michigan, and we took a program that hadn't been to a bowl game in 30 years and brought it back to life. And then on to Pitt. Over the last 5 years, we've had this unbelievable experience together. So 8 straight years with my most valued mentor, Heather Like. She has prepared me to be your athletic director, and I'm so thankful to her, her family. They have meaningfully connected with my family in such a genuine way. I'm a better son, a better father, and a better husband, and a better administrator because of Heather Like. And I can't thank her enough for this opportunity for me to lead a department. And I look so forward to doing that here at Marshall. So those are the folks that I'm so grateful for and so thankful for. Thank you for letting me share that with you. I want you to know me. And in order to do that, I got to be a little vulnerable. So thanks for allowing me to be grateful for the people that have helped me along the way. Now let's get to Marshall. Let's talk about what we're going to do here, right? I have very specific themes, very simple themes that I hope will resonate today. We're going to talk a lot about championship pace, right? And we're going to figure that out together. There's something about a pace. There's a cadence, a rhythm. We don't just start running. We've got to figure out what has worked well here, what we've done well in the past. And that pace will start to evolve and get established. And I promise you, we're going to be running with the herd quick over time. But give me, our staff, our team, the chance to figure out our championship pace. But we're going to do that. We're also going to have a championship process. There are people here. There are policies here. There are protocols here. And there are precedents here. I need to learn them, and know what works. That process takes a little bit of time. But I can promise you, if we develop a championship process, we will be successful. We're also going to focus a lot on our championship planning, right? I'm the kind of person who likes to know what I'm going to do every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year. And I want to know what our team is doing in that same fashion. I will share absolutely every part of our plan with all of you, with our staff, with our coaches, and I want to know theirs. I love the dialogue about moving a place forward. I love the interaction that you get to have with people that you work with to establish something meaningful and great. And that planning process will be engaging, and we'll all be involved. We'll have a fun little fan experience committee too, so be watching for that planning process to unfold. And hopefully some of you will raise your hand and join us on it. And if we do the pace right, if we do the process right, if we do the planning right, we're going to have championship performance. Something that we all want to see here. Something that we've seen in our past. Something that we know what it feels like to be successful. I can't wait to have championship performance with you all. And at the end of the day, what that's going to bring us all is championship pride. And this place has that. This is one of the most storied programs in college athletics. And I can't believe that I get to serve with you and bring pride to this amazing university. Something that Coach Pruitt said to me in our interview process. He closed our interview process with a screening committee. He said, Christian, if you're going to be successful here, it's got to stop being me are Marshall. It's got to start being we are Marshall. And I promise you, that's coming. We are Marshall. And I can't thank you enough for allowing me to serve here.
All right, that's Christian Spears' introductory statement from earlier today. When we continue, we're going to drill down a little bit more what he had to say. Some specific questions were asked of him about things like the baseball park, about his immediate needs going into the Sun Belt, We'll have all of that for you a little bit later on. I had a chance to be part of a couple of breakout sessions with President Brad D. Smith and with Mr. Christian Spears as well. So all that's coming up when we continue with this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Brought to you by Huntington Federal Savings Bank, the local bank that's here for every step of your life's journey. Member FDIC.
Welcome back to the Friday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Today was the day where the Marshall community was formally introduced to new athletic director Christian Spears. He had several minutes of Q&A with members of the media. We asked him a huge spectrum, a wide spectrum of questions going across his personal moments about helping students, being part of the larger community. The Sun Belt came up, and I think that's where we're going to start. He was asked right off the bat, what are some of the immediate needs going into the Sun Belt, and here's his response.
To the Sun Belt Conference, the most immediate need to the Sun Belt Conference, right? That's where we're going to jump right to, right? Yeah, let's get after it.
Hey, you said you like pigs.
Yeah. Let's go. Here we are. Yeah, great question right out of the gate. You know, Teddy and I and John talked about it this morning. We have this opportunity to visit all these brand new places, right? Some of them we know. We have some historic rivalries in there, right, that we're connected to already, which is going to be a lot of fun to reestablish. And we also have the chance to set some new traditions in some new locations and bring people along. So what I look forward to is preparing for all of those visits to those other locations with our team. We need to travel together. We need to go to these locations together. If we're going to establish the kind of program we want, people need to know when we show up, look out, right? I can tell you, when I went to the College Cup with Pitt this past year, there was a team there that played in the game before us, that won a national title. And I could have told you when I walked into that stadium that Marshall was going to win the national championship in soccer, because the people that were there were so engaged. Let's go and do that at every place we go visit. Let's figure out how to get there. Let's figure out the places we want to see when we're there. I want to engage with the Sun Belt Conference. I want to know every one of those spots, every one of those programs, and I want them to know who we are. And that'll be what we do to get immediately ready for the Sun Belt. There's some logistical stuff, obviously, but I'm more interested in engaging with those communities and showing them what it means to be at Marshall.
So we're going to follow the new athletic director around where all the good places are to go eat. That's a good place to start. He wants to know everything. Where do you go eat? That's why he's going to have to make friends quickly with a few people on staff and, of course, our very own Bill Cornwell as well. Because Billy is someone who loves to go see the destinations. And I think he's looking for fans like that to go and, see the destinations, make it fun, make road trips fun again. He was also asked about what he knew about Marshall before taking the job. And he had an understanding, but maybe not the ins and outs that we do. Here's his basic take on what he knew as he was getting ready to take the job.
Honestly, I didn't know a lot, right? I knew we were in Conference USA. I knew we were planning on the transition, but I did my homework quick, right, once I got the call. So looking forward to learning. I told Red when I walked in, hey, I'm going to come visit with you because I need to know the history. If we're going to be great in the future, I got to totally understand the past, right? So Red agreed that he'd light a fire for me. We'd sit down and I'd learn, and I'd know what happened here, and I can't wait to hear those stories and understand this special place, and I'm going to dig deep with Red, and we'll figure that out together. But I am thrilled to be a part of this. When you move into a new conference, you have a chance to do something really special, right? We're going to be able to evaluate all the things that were around, right? Because we've got to evolve into this new conference. You have a chance to benchmark against another league, first time we've been in the Sun Belt, and understand what's happening in that league. That can impact us, and we can get better for it. So it's just a tremendous opportunity for us. I can't wait to get started on the learning curve.
Now, one of the most important questions, and it's only because I asked it, one of the most important questions of the day, let's be honest. There's a nice dirt field that we all drive past. It's where the sign that says Marshall Baseball Stadium, beautiful mural it was a few years ago. I mean, you remember when Huntington Mayor Steve Williams and Mike Hamrick were all on stage and just happy with the fact that here we're going to be breaking ground right here, baseball stadium. And then COVID happened, and look where we're at now. You just drive by it, and you're like, is that thing ever going to get built? Well, I wanted to know what his take on that was, because I know he's been asked about it. He made light of it. Baseball park. What are you going to do? Here's Christian Spears' response to my question about a facility for baseball.
Not a single person has mentioned that. Sure. This is brand new information. Give me a chance to process, right? Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, yes. Absolutely, right? You know, President Smith and I talked about this at length, and the staff as well. You know, when you're playing a sport and you don't have a facility and you've been asked to compete, it is a very difficult thing to do, right? So, you know, we need to thank our program, this historic coach we've had, where we're currently doing, because what they've been able to accomplish without a venue is truly amazing. And those student athletes, that baseball staff, they're having a good experience. They're bringing those kids along without a venue. So I just have so much respect for what they've done there. So each and every day, from March 14th on, we are going to work to get that stadium figured out, right? We are going to work immediately when I get started to get that. Already had a nice conversation with Steve right when I walked in the door, right? And Steve introduced himself and said, "Hey, we're going to get this baseball stadium figured out." Right? So you got the mayor and the president who brought it up to me on the very first day, and about 75 other people, right? So I might have lost count, but I look forward to digging in on it, and we're going to get it figured out.
After all, the mayor said before he was out of office, the baseball park would be built. So he's on the clock. He is on the clock. One of the topics that came up is Jeff O'Malley. A lot of praise for Jeff. And now that you have an athletic director that's installed starting on the 14th, the question's basically who's going to be continuing to lead the way here with the legal team. And you know, Mr. Spears spoke about Mr. O'Malley and him continuing on to lead the way with this hopefully successful exit of Conference USA.
You know, Jeff has done such an amazing job managing this situation. When you start something and you begin that leadership role, Jeff needs to see that through, and I'm so confident he will. He's established a really nice rapport, and during the entire process, knows all the issues, and he will shepherd us through that. And I'm so confident in his leadership and his ability to do that. I'll play and have an understanding of all things that happen there, but Jeff is really going to be the leader on that, and he's been working with Brad at a really high level. I know what's happening publicly. I've read the papers as well. I've seen some success with the TRO, and I just have immense confidence in Jeff's leadership on this. So we'll work with Jeff, and we'll keep moving that thing forward, and we'll be better for it because of Jeff.
And keeping with that, the litigation's going on right now. As an athletic director, you come in, you take the job, and you don't know, are you going to be in Conference USA? Are you going to be in the Sun Belt? You don't know where to start because you don't know where you're going to be when you take the job and where the athletic programs are going to be competing here next season. And he was asked about where does he start with the program while that litigation is still going on.
Once we're through that process, we'll be able to really understand how we're going to compete and the things that we need to do to get ready to go for this fall, right? It is a quick turn, right? When you make a decision and you leave and exit, like let's call it June 30th and July 1st, which is a lot of times the way academic calendars work in the world of college athletics, that July 1st date, we're going to have to be all Sun Belt and really figure out how we're doing that, what we're doing, get our travel arranged. Confident we can do that. This is a team that knows how to move a place forward, right? We have all the right people. We have all the right processes to understand how to compete at the highest level in a league, and we're going to do that in the Sun Belt.
Another question that was asked, you're the new kid. You're the new guy on the block. You don't know the history just yet. You've had a lot of mentors. He outlined a lot of the people that he leaned on over the years who have got him ready for this position, who have mentored him. But when it comes to, getting the lay of the land, being a little bit more aware of what Marshall's about, he was asked whom he would lean on for that advice.
I will spend a lot of time with Brad. We've already established that we're going to have a nice little weekly schedule. And here's this person. I know he's been away from the university, but he grew up here. He went to school here. He has a lot of knowledge here. He knows a lot of the people here. So initially, a lot of that will come from Brad. I will rely on our team, right? We have a lot of folks on our team that have been here for a number of years. They've seen it all, right? I met with the entire staff this morning. Jeff set that up for me. Thank you for that, Jeff. All the people were there. We had a really nice dialogue, and I told him exactly how I like to make the decisions. And the way I like to do that is I like to have a little dialogue and discussion and discourse and debate. And in order for me to make a great decision and know what we're going to need to do, I need you to have conversations with me and tell me the things that you're looking for, tell me the things that you need. And I saw some eyes peek up. I think I might have inspired a few folks to give me their list and tell me what they need and what we need to do to move forward. And I'll rely heavily on the team that is here. They have the knowledge. Never look away from institutional knowledge, right? So thrilled to be able to listen to their great ideas and the things that are going to help move us forward. I'll rely on this staff.
We're listening to comments from new Marshall Athletic Director Christian Spears, going to be taking the job on officially next month on the 14th. And the moment today, he gets presented the green jacket. He is introduced as the athletic director of Marshall University. He was asked about the moment. He's been working his life, his career to get to this moment, and he talked about really some of the emotion going into now. He's the athletic director.
It has been an unbelievable journey. I've been doing this college athletics thing for 25 years, and I've put myself in a position to be an athletic director one time in my career, and I recognized something, and I withdrew from that process. And then I just dug in with Heather, and we built some amazing things over the last 8 years together. And then this opportunity came up, and then I found out and met Brad, and it inspired me to want to be here, right, and transform this place and in a meaningful way with Brad. I've been waiting a long time. I've been super patient, trying to find the right fit, the right place with the right people. It's hard to do. You can't do this thing by yourself. The most important thing in We Are Marshall is we, right? And if we can get that done together, and I can be a part of that process with you all, I've been waiting my whole life for this, right? It is a moment for me, Mark, right? It is. Brad got me to vulnerability in my meeting. He asked me, can you remember a time in your life where you knew the moment was so significant that it was going to have you pivot, that you were going to change the direction you were going? And I shared some things about my dad, and my dad passed, but this was his dream because it was my dream, and here we are today, and I know my mom's so proud. She's out in Arizona with my sister, and when I was going through all my thank yous, who I left? I left Julia off, right? This journey that we have done together for 25 years with our kids all involved. You'll get to meet Rainier, Kai, and Skyla, and you'll get to know Dr. Julia Spears and how special she is. They have been a part of this journey all along. I got a call today from my son, sorry for the long answer, Mark, as he was driving to school with my daughter, and said, hey, congratulations, Dad, good luck today. And it couldn't have felt better, right? And my family has been so meaningfully involved in this. And thanks, Julia, for helping us get here, and can't wait to do this with you.
That goes into the next question. He referenced his wife, Dr. Julia Spears. She's in academia. He's in athletics. And he was asked about that, just, the two worlds coming together. And Spears talked about helping students. And he prefaced this by saying that this is actually what it's about.
Oh, it's critical to the whole thing, right? We're going to dig deep, dive in. I only told a few people this. We took a secret visit here, right? When I first got the call from the search firm about wanting to be involved.
Is the wrong cut, but let's see. Was that cut 10, guys? Cut 10 is helping students. It's what it's about.
Why we do what we do. If you're in higher ed, helping a young person reach their full potential is what it's all about, right? And we get to start them on their journey. Who doesn't remember the experience that they had in college and what it did for them in their life, right? That's what we're talking about when we're talking about being a student athlete at a university. That's the most important thing. Marshall has the chance to transform somebody into the person they want to become for their life, right? Understanding what happens in the academy and how athletics can help augment that message, how athletics can help connect that student to the university is the role. And I'm so thrilled that over the last 25 years, Julie and I have been able to engage in so many great dialogues. Christian, understand what's happening in the academy. Julia, understand what's happening in athletics. And bringing those two groups together. It is the reason why we both understand the importance of the academy and the relationship with athletics. It will always be Marshall first, always. It will always be Marshall first. We need to move this place forward as an institution, as an academy. We are so unique in this region. We can establish something so meaningful for students that can transform them in meaningful ways. And athletics can help be a vehicle for that. And I'm thrilled to bring those two things together. And Brad knows that. And that's something we talked about at length.
All right, now we're going to get to cut 11. And this was a question that I asked about integrating into the larger community. He talked about Marshall. He talked about the community with the student athletes. But how's he going to integrate into the larger community? Because, you know, Huntington loves Marshall. It's a community school. It's a school that means a lot to the surrounding counties, Cabell, Wayne. It's a university. It's a Division I university with that small community feel at times, right? Well, you got to integrate into that. He talked about that. He even talked about how he made a special visit off book just to kind of get a feel for where he was going.
Oh, it's critical to the whole thing, right? We're going to dig deep, dive in. I only told a few people this. We took a secret visit here, right? When I first got the call from the search firm about wanting to be involved. Christian, do you want to be involved in the process? I said, hey, Jules, let's go drive it down to Huntington and see it and check it out and get to know the community a little bit. And we went to some of the old stomping grounds, some of the great restaurants in town, right? Had a nice night out and walked campus, you know. Julia ran it, I walked it. You probably know why. And but we learned a little bit about all the things that are here and are digging into the communities now. You know, trying to figure out how we're going to get our family here and where we're going to settle, and just look so forward to that. We will engage with this community at a high level. We want to be a part of it, right? Please let us in. If you do, we're gonna let you in, and we definitely want to be a part of this place. So, thank you for that question.
I'll tell you what, since we have time constraints, we will take a break, come back, and we'll hear more from Brad D. Smith, and we'll hear from the new athletic director, Christian Spears, when we continue with this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Presented by Huntington Federal Savings Bank.
We're going to take a final time out here in a moment, but I did promise you I want to hear a little bit from Brad D. Smith. I had a chance to talk to him about the hire. An important question. You know, this is his first major hire of a new athletic director. Welcome back. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Let's hear a little bit from Brad D. Smith talking about the hire. Again, this is his most important hire so far. He just hired a new athletic director, and he talks about the journey and just what he was looking for. I mean, this is your first major hire as president. How do you feel it went so far?
I couldn't be more delighted. I often use the quote from Coach Wooden from UCLA that a player that makes a team great is worth more than just a great player. Christian Spears is both. He brings amazing skills and experiences as an individual talent, and he makes all of us around him stronger, and you could already see it, hear it, and feel it in his speech today.
How important was it for someone like Christian to be able to come in and connect immediately with your staff. As you know, as a manager, at times when you have changes, there's a lot of apprehension from staff members. You know, how great was it to know that he's already had a calming effect?
Well, that was the number one test. We are serious when we say the most important word in We Are Marshall is we. Life's a team sport, and culture is the thing. In fact, they say culture eats strategy every day for lunch. We needed for the next athletic director to come in and be a strong fit, and he obviously is that fit.
And of course, he's got a long list of things, and you two will be working together. What do you think will be some of the first items that you two should be tackling as you try to navigate these next few months?
I'm going to tell him to dream big, deliver faster, and define excellence, and my job is to clear the brush that gets in his way.
All right, Brad D. Smith, we got to take a break. Come back. We're going to wrap it up. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 at AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Brought to you by Huntington Federal Savings Bank, the local bank that's here for every step of your life's journey. Member FDIC.
Final moments, The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We'll be back on Monday at the Union Pub and Grill. Hopefully we will let you know when we can bring Christian Spears, the new athletic director of Marshall University, on the program. So we'll tell you when that is happening for us. And we've got some more content, so if you would follow me on Twitter at Paul Swann. Of course, you can follow the station online, ESPN 94.1. Do a search there. We'll post some of this stuff on our social media feed, so you get a chance to hear some of this content. So that's coming up here as soon as we get off the air. We'll post all of this. And, of course, don't forget, if you miss any part of today's show, you can go back and listen to our podcast. All you have to do is give us a follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. That's where you're going to find The Drive. So hopefully next week we're talking to the new athletic director as he gets settled in, and he'll be taking the job here in the next couple of weeks also. We're going to be talking about Marshall basketball. That's going to ramp back up. Western Kentucky, the opponent for the next two before we get into the Conference USA tournament. These are important games. Of course, Marshall wants to stay, let's be honest, seeding is going to be almost inconsequential. Marshall's going to have to play its way into 4 straight. Marshall's going to play its way to the championship game by going through everybody. There's no easy path here. And Dan feels he can make a run. He feels his team has got what it takes to start gelling right at this moment, this very moment. He mentioned in his post-game comments yesterday, going to take a few days off, and then they're going to get right back at it, take on Western Kentucky. That's probably the right thing to do, give the team a few days off, get them, I don't know, get them away from basketball for a few days, come back, be a little bit more fresh, ready to attack it. Final stretch is coming up, so we'll hear from Dan D'Antoni next week, as well as Tony Kemper. He's got to get the same stretch going with Western Kentucky. He's in a better spot for the conference tournament, but you kind of want to go into the tournament with a little bit more momentum, so get those last 2 games and get a solid spot in the bracket. That's going to do it for this edition. Back on Monday, we'll do it all over again right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W231BS Huntington, broadcasting from the Oscars Breakfast Burgers and Brew Studios. This is ESPN 94.1 at AM 930.